Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome back to Slanger's podcast. Yep, obviously I'm still on vacation, but this summer I'm going to do some quick hits, and this time I'm focusing on the Doobie Brothers and their 1980 album called One Step Closer. The podcast will return at the end of August, where I have a conversation with my new book called Shades of Living Color, and of course it'll be season 10 as well. For this quick hit episode, we're talking about the Doobie Brothers. I've already talked about two songs from the 80s from the Doobie Brothers, Olana and Can't Let It Get Away. This, though, is their last full album before they broke up, which features Patrick Simmons on guitar, John McPhee on guitar, Cornelius Bumpus on tenor sax and organ, and Chet McCracken on drums, along with veterans Keith Knutson on drums, Bobby LaKine on congas, Tyran Porter on his last Doobie Brothers album for a while on bass, and of course Michael McDonald on keyboards and synthesizers. It was produced by Ted Templeman, but engineered by Jim Isaacson instead of Don Landy, who produced almost all the Doobie Brothers albums. But Don was busy with Van Halen, so Jim Isaacson got the call for this album to engineer it, and it featured some really big hits. We'll get to those in a little bit. But also, the album was a number, I believe it was number three album, number five album on the US album charts. So it did pretty well. The first song that we're going to talk about is the first song on the album, which was from Michael McDonald and Paul Anka, and it's called Dedicate This Heart. The song is upbeat, great tempo, has some really good drum playing by Knudsen and McCracken, and some really great rhythm and melodic parts from Simmons and John McPhee. But it also features some tasty Hammond B3 organ fills by Cornelius Bumpus and great piano by Michael McDonald. I believe the electric piano was played by Patrick Henderson, who was a friend of Michael McDonald and the band, and a great horn section. This album is actually prominent because it features a lot of horn arrangements, not just Cornelius Bumpus on tenor and alto, but I believe they had Jeromeville on sax, and also featured Lee Thornburg from Tower of Power on trumpet, among other players. Again, the song's upbeat. McDonald's vocals are fantastic. Nicolette Larson provides some additional backing vocals with Patrick Simmons, Keith Knudsen, and John McPhee. And the song, I think it's interesting because this album is the only Doobie Brothers album, the only one that was recorded live. Now, most people think Doobie Brothers, when they're a rock and roll band, they got in the studio and recorded live. No, this album's the only one that actually got the rhythm sections together, recorded live, live drums, live bass, live guitar, and live basic keyboards and organ. And then they did overdubs. So it has a really good feel to it. It's upbeat, and there's no guitar solos on it, but Bumpus does a great job with the sax solo. So if you haven't heard Dedicate This Heart, look it up. It's the first song on One Step Closer. Wasn't released as a single or a B-side, but it is a really good song and a great lead to the next song, which we'll cover in a few days. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Go on to Patreon. Look at my Patreon page if you're interested. Please join the Patreon executive producers there as well. And like I mentioned, the podcast will be back in full swing in August. But in the meantime, we're going to get these. So I appreciate all of you, and I will see you soon. You take